Afternoon, White Pine County School District. This is your Superintendent Adam Young, and I am joined today in the construction trades area of White Pine High School with teacher Chris Baldwin and senior Jackson Armstrong. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for being with me today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I am so excited to be here today. We're going to talk to both of these guys a little bit about what life is like in this vocational area of White Pine High School and some of the great opportunities that students have, and what it's like to be a teacher in this world. So, Chris, we'll start with you if that's okay.
Yeah, my name's Chris Baldwin. I had 10 years in mining, actually just shy of 10 years in mining. There I learned my trade of welding. They, I, I spent most of my time welding in the mill, and then up at the crusher, I finished the rest of my time. Um, Building trade, I would say when I was in college, I worked for a couple companies down in St. George where we did roofing and some sort of structural building. Again, I was a groundsman, so mostly I just carried and ran stuff. But transferring from the industry to here actually has been the best thing I've done. I enjoy teaching it. I enjoy showing them, learning different things and making sure that the students understand what's going to be asked of them after high school and setting up the class so it's more of what they want to learn and less of what Mr. Baldwin wants them to learn. And hopefully we can turn some pages and start seeing
Yeah.
the trade coming back into the education system.
So, what has been for you the biggest challenge as you've gone from the workforce and working with adults primarily and quick timeline, lots of pressure to get things done, get them done right, all that stuff, into now the educational environment? Like, can you tell us a little bit about what that transition's been like for you?
I think most of it's like working with the students is they're eager to learn and they're only getting a grade out of it. Where the guys I worked with before, they got a paycheck, so I can yell and they understand that the pressure of it. I'm trying to show them in a classroom setting the same thing, except for instead of a paycheck, you're going to get a grade. And the more you work, the harder you work, the more you understand, or the more that you show me that you understand. Instead of a paycheck, you're going to get a grade. The hardest thing for me, the transfer is the youngness, the newbie, the green card, the just the I don't even know how to say it. The nervousness of them. I feel like they're afraid to fail, and so they are apprehensive to try.
Yeah.
And so trying to encourage them just to try is the hardest part. Then once I get them trying, then we fly. You can ask Jackson. Most of my first time welders, they're afraid. As soon as they see the arc, it's a fear, and then by the end of it, it's not even scary anymore. It's just turning a wrench.
Yeah. I love that because grades are important to a lot of kids, and grades are actually sometimes we get parents who are more fired up about grades than the
Mhm.
students actually are, right? And yet this idea of doing it wrong a whole bunch of times before you learn how to do it right, that is an inherent part of learning.
Absolutely.
So what have you found to be effective in getting students to give that first, second, third, fourth, fifth effort, knowing that they may get it wrong every one of those times?
I feel like the learning aspect is greater when they fail. Because then I'm like, well, what could we have done different? And they are quick to answer. They're like, oh, I should have done this or I should have done this. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I want. Now go try it again. Now in this industry, it's expensive. So sometimes I have to like lead them up to the answer. Like, hey, we can't just take a bunch of metal at $300 each. We just go weld it, and then I'll be like, okay, that's a six. Here we go. Do it again better. And then Mr. Young's yelling at me because I'm spending thousands of dollars. But it's teaching them that hey, that there's cost to this. So let's make sure before we just jump into a project, we understand all this. And I teach that in the class. I make sure that they understand that there's more to this than just me teaching. There's Mr. Young finding grants and making sure that we have everything that we need so we can be successful in all the projects that we're making.
Yeah, I love that. And attaching the fact that even though there's low stakes as far as the learning process and multiple opportunities to get it right. There are still some high stakes too, like, getting it right sooner than later is probably better. Not wasting materials. Like those are all real life types of lessons that when you're on a job site, your employer is going to expect those things out of you. Yeah. So maybe just a couple more questions on that. What, because you haven't been trained as a teacher, but you bring in these other skills that I mean, I think bring a huge advantage to working with kids in a classroom because you did come straight out of the workforce. So maybe if you can share just a little bit about some of the things that you feel like you bring to the table as a business and industry expert, that maybe kind of a teacher who's prepared in the traditional way might not have.
I would say like learning to work with different people all the time. Like I have gone through, like I worked at the mine where there's an 80% turnover rate or a 60% turnover rate. Walmart had a 85 to 90% turnover rate. So I had to learn to work with a whole bunch of different people of different ages and everything. So when I walk into a classroom and I've got a whole bunch of juniors and seniors, I just adapt quickly to that age in order to make it more successful in the classroom. So I can have a conversation with Jackson, but then turn around and have a conversation with somebody else, maybe much younger, not more mature. Okay. I also, the industry, I coached. So I think that helps me out a little bit in the classroom as well, to where I can set up a room so that we're successful. And I've failed. I've had some classes not go the way that I had planned, and I'm like, these teachers are more successful at it than me. And sometimes I revert back to what I know,
Sure.
and some of that's just like, all right, stop. Let's start over. We'll try it again. We'll try this different.
I love that metaphor of coaching too, because that, I mean, and Jackson, maybe you can share a little bit about this in a minute, but I feel like there are so many real world lessons that come in classes like this or that come out on the soccer field, on the basketball court or whatever. Trying when you don't want to try anymore, when you're exhausted. Still working hard when your teammate doesn't pass you the ball, right? Like that kind of grit and fire. I really feel like there's a lot of translation between those types of skills that students learn in those environments, and then what life is like, after you're done with high school, that type of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Jackson.
I think that's very I really like that you said that. Wrestling, I find a lot of similarities, I guess, in like this kind of stuff because where he can't do anything for us, kind of like wrestling, it's an individual sport. Our coach can't do anything for us, so we don't have teammates really out there on the mat with us. And so we have to do everything on our own with just the guidance of our coaches. And so it kind of translates into the classroom where Mr. Baldwin can't do anything for us. And yes, we can have classmates help, but really it's all figuring out on your own as well as getting the guidance that we need to be successful.
Yeah. That makes me think a little bit about our portrait of a leader and that concept of agency. And, as a student, I would imagine you've been in classes probably where you didn't have a lot of agency. And then you've been in situations like what you were just describing in wrestling, which I've always thought is like the most lonely sport because you are out there by yourself. It is you and that's it,
Yeah.
and you've got to make choices and you've got to own those choices.
Yeah, and it definitely has been a lot different. Like of course it's a whole different class. Other classes you do a lot more group work, and this class we still do a lot of group work. But I feel like everybody's individual tasks in our group work in this class are so crucial to being successful in any project we do. Like we're building a shed right now, and I feel like if everyone didn't do their job so well, like it could not even happen at all. And we work together in doing it, but at the same time, you each have your own individual things to do, and it really sets us up to be successful.
Yeah, I love that. And it makes me think about that concept of interdependence, right? And you know, for me to be successful in my job, I need you to do your job well, and
Yeah.
vice versa. And we rely on each other.
Yeah.
Which is also something that's learned in athletics, right? Like you're part of the baseball team right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What position do you play in baseball?
I pitch and I play second.
Yeah. So you cannot pitch without a catcher,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
You kind of got to have a catcher there, right?
Yeah.
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 So what else? What else? You're a senior this year. We mentioned that already. What has been the best part of your senior year so far?
I think just I've been able to take a lot more in, and I've kind of realized that throughout, like as an underclassman, you think, oh, it's not going to go by so fast, and then this year I kind of realized like, oh, it goes by so fast, and so I've been able to take more stuff in to like kind of enjoying it more, and I guess being more like excited to do different things. And even in just a classroom setting, like coming into class, it's not so, oh, we got class again today. It's like, oh, I get to go to class. Like I won't get to do this anymore ever again.
Yeah.
And so, and that's where I really enjoy this class because like Mr. Baldwin makes it a lot easier to do that. And I don't know, I just really enjoy it and enjoy doing this kind of work. And it's fun because I may not ever get to do it again. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even in sports, that case.
Well, I hate to tell you this, my friend, but you got about 7 weeks left.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're enjoying it every day, and I hope you continue to do that.
Yeah.
And I hear that, there's like you get to kind of the end of something and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you're appreciating that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to show us some of the work that you've done here in this class? Because we're sitting here and I'm looking at some of it. We can turn our computer over to it, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you've done.
So here we got a gingerbread house. You built this, right?
Well, there's like 8 of us that were working on this.
Okay. And so they built this in welding. I took welding the first semester, but I dropped out so I could have work study for second semester. So now I'm just in building and construction. Here's some of the welds some classes I've done.
Just
And
different
welding.
joints. These are what we're graded on. This is more for fun and just show that what we take from here and we put it into here.
Yeah.
In Jackson's building and construction class, we always started with something simple that we built in the 90s. And then now we're just moving along and we take projects on from the county. The golf course has reached out to me, and so I have the golf cart right over here behind us, and we've taken and welded most of this together. Almost made it indestructible. The auto shop painted it. We went through and welded it. This is to pick up golf balls, so the guy that's out there, he doesn't get hit by the golf balls and whatnot. And Randy's done a lot of work out there to make the golf course better, and it's just awesome that my students can take a small part of it and just make it better.
That is definitely indestructible. As one who picked up golf balls back in the day when I was a high school student, I can appreciate that because normally the kids on the range are aiming at the person who's in the cart.
Yes. I think that's what Randy was saying. He's like, Chris, there's some holes here if you can help us out. But that one's almost done. Randy asked me to make it look more. He wants to put some golf balls in the front of it. It was my idea, and one of his athletes, Zayden McClintock, he said, "Hey, there's nothing shows golf on this. This cart now looks like it's army made." And I was like, "Well, we can get some golf balls and just run them across the front." And now he's all excited. So we're gonna undo a couple things that we've done, put the golf balls on there, and hopefully be able to give it to him in the next couple of weeks.
I also really appreciate how you're both talking a little bit about this intersection between what happens at school and what's out there in the community. Like I love that, that you're talking about working with another county agency. Jackson, you talked a little bit about your work-based learning. So tell us a little bit more about that. Where are you employed right now?
So I work at White Pine Glass, and we do everything, not even just glass. We do obviously all like windshields, windows, all that, but we also put up garage doors, and we do like regular man doors, and siding as well. And sometimes, like when you have to put in a bigger window, you have to cut a new hole and do some structural work on the framing of the house. And so, like learning in this class, I learned a lot at work before I had building and construction. So I was able to bring a lot of that knowledge from work into this class, and also like teach younger kids that I work with in class about it. But also I've learned stuff in this class that I didn't learn at work, and so I was able to transfer them back and forth, which helped me a ton in a classroom setting, but also in the workforce as well. And I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, you should be really proud of that. So Mr. Baldwin, what brings you the most joy as far as being a teacher here at White Pine High School?
I guess when the light bulb turns on, just like every teacher, is like when all the work is done and it just makes sense, and then they can just go out there and lay down a bead and look at it and know that Mr. Baldwin is going to be nothing but excited about what I just did. And you can see him as they're approaching me as they're walking over there. They're like, "We'll show you this side first because it's not the best and it's a really good bead." And then they flip it over and they're like, "And this is phenomenal." And then I'm like, "Yes." And there we go. And that's what brings it. Even the hard days, that's what helps me get through the struggles.
I love that so much, and our students are really fortunate to have you as a teacher. We're glad you're part of the team, aren't you, Jackson?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's taught me a lot. It's
Yeah.
it's fun having him in class. He makes class interesting. He makes it fun. We have laughs, but we also have those hard days, where it's
Yeah.
struggling. But
And I don't want to let this episode end before letting you know that I'm proud of you. Heading off into the great things that you're going to accomplish as a White Pine grad here in a couple months.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you see for yourself in the future.
I just want to be successful, really, and just I plan to go to lineman school, and it seems like a super fun job. I want to travel as a lineman just throughout the United States. I think that'd be super cool before I'd love to come back here. I love Ely, I just want to be successful and have a good adult life, and always just strive to be better and not make high school the best years of my life. That's my main goal, is just work on improving myself and improving my life and making it better as it goes on.
100%. So important and hard too, sometimes I think about like, when do you know when those best years are? And really, it's like, we want to try to make the years that we're living right now the best years, and
Yeah.
look forward that there are even better years to come.
Yeah.
And that it's not, sometime in the past.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your mindset on that. All right, well, fellas, thanks for joining me today. Everyone who watched this, thanks for watching. And congrats to Mr. Baldwin and Mr. Armstrong here for their great work. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.